Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone present. My name is Alifa and together with my group members Bok and Sharon, we will be presenting our Test 3 group presentation today. Our topic is educational aspirations and directions and specifically their implications for passionate teachers. This is a topic that sits at the very heart of what education is for and one that we believe every future educator should deeply understand. I will begin by laying the conceptual foundation, defining what educational aspirations are and examining the key directions shaping modern education. Bok will then explore the passionate teacher and what aspirations demand of them, and Sharon will close by connecting everything to communication and digital skills. As shown here, I will cover what educational aspirations are, the 5 key directions of modern education, and how global and local goals compare. Bok takes section 2, the passionate teacher, implications, challenges, and real-world examples, and Sharon brings everything together in section 3 with communication skills, digital technology, and our conclusion. With that overview in mind, let us begin. Section 1. Educational aspirations. We are asking a fundamental question today. What is the vision that drives education forward? And what do we as individuals, as institutions, and as a society truly hope education will achieve? These are not merely philosophical questions to be discussed in lecture halls. They have very real, very practical consequences for every policy that is written, every curriculum that is designed, and every lesson that is taught. The answers to these questions shape the entire educational experience from the national level all the way down to what happens in a single classroom on any given day. So, what exactly are educational aspirations? At its core, educational aspirations refer to the goals, hopes, and ambitions that individuals, institutions, and societies hold regarding education. They define the purpose of learning and give direction to the entire educational enterprise. We can understand aspirations at 4 interconnected levels. At the individual level, these are deeply personal. A student dreams of a meaningful career. A parent hopes their child will have greater opportunities than they did. Then a teacher hopes to ignite a lifelong love of learning. These individual hopes are not trivial. They are powerful motivators that shape educational decisions every day. Then moving on, at the institutional level, schools and universities aspire to produce graduates who are not just academically competent but holistic. Because individuals with strong values, leadership ability, and the capacity to contribute meaningfully to society. Then at the societal level, aspirations broaden further. A nation hopes that education will promote equity and social cohesion, that every child, regardless of background or circumstance, will have access to quality learning. Education is seen as a vehicle for economic development and national progress. And at the policy level, these aspirations are formalized into national blueprints and international frameworks such as Malaysia's Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025 and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4, which calls for inclusive and equitable quality education for all by 2030. What is critical to understand is that these 4 levels are deeply interconnected. Individual dreams shape institutional goals. Institutional goals inform national policy, and national policy is shaped by global aspirations. Together, they form one continuous living cycle. Now that we understand what aspirations are and where they come from. Let us examine the 5 key directions that modern education is moving towards, the practical pathways through which these aspirations are being pursued. Direction 1 is the development of 21st century skills, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. The 4 Cs have become core educational competencies. Today's world is complex and rapidly changing, and students need more than content knowledge. They must learn how to think, not just what to think. Direction 2 is inclusive education, ensuring every learner, regardless of ability, language, socioeconomic background, or geography, has fair and meaningful access to learning. No child should be left behind simply because of circumstances beyond their control. Direction 3 is STEM and digital literacy. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics combined with digital competency are no longer optional. We live in a technology-driven world, and education must genuinely prepare students to navigate and contribute to it. Direction 4 is values-based education. Alongside knowledge and skills, education must cultivate moral character, civic responsibility, and spiritual wellness. We want to produce graduates who are not just capable but good. Individuals who will enrich their communities and act with integrity. And direction 5 is the cultivation of a lifelong learning culture. In a world of rapid change, the ability to keep learning, adapt, and grow is perhaps the most important competency of all. Education should give students not just knowledge, but the curiosity and confidence to keep seeking it throughout their life. Moving on, having established what aspirations are and where education is heading, let us now compare global aspirations with our local context here in Malaysia. On the global front, the United Nations, UNESCO, and the OECD have set ambitious shared frameworks. The US SDG 4 calls for quality education for all by 2030. UNESCO champions education for sustainable development, preparing learners to address environmental and social challenges. The OECD focuses on equipping youth with future-ready competencies for an evolving global economy. Underlying all of this is a shared commitment: reduce educational inequality and build responsible global citizens. In Malaysia, our aspirations are equally ambitious but grounded in our unique cultural and national identity. The Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025 targets 6 students' attributes: knowledge, thinking skills, leadership, bilingual ability, ethics, and national identity. We are expanding TVET to develop a skilled workforce. Our national schools play a vital role in fostering unity in our beautifully diverse, multicultural society, and we are actively working to bridge the urban-rural digital divide because equity means ensuring no student is disadvantaged by geography. What I find most striking about these global and local aspirations is how complementary they are. Malaysia's blueprint is not disconnected from the global vision, but it is a thoughtful, localized expression of it, shaped by our history, our values, and our national aspirations. And this is precisely where passionate teachers become irreplaceable. Aspirations on paper, however beautifully written, mean nothing without the educators who breathe life into them in the classroom every single day. And that is where Bok picks up our story.
Thank you, Alifa. Hi everyone, my name is Bok, and I will now take us deeper into the human heart of education. which is Section 2, The Passionate Teacher. Alifa has shown us the vision, the aspirations, and the directions that guide modern education. Now we ask the most important question of all. Who is this responsible for translating that vision into reality? In classrooms across the country every single day? The answer is the passionate teacher. Allow me to begin with a thought that I feel captures the essence of passionate teaching. A passionate teacher is not merely an instructor of content, but a dedicated architect of students' futures, driven by love for learning and a deep commitment for excellence. So, who exactly is this passionate teacher? Educators and researchers have identified 6 defining characteristics that set them apart. First, they are intrinsically motivated. They do not teach primarily for salary, recognition, or status. They teach because they genuinely love what they do. They find deep meaning and joy when a student finally understands something they have been struggling with. Second, they are student-centered. The passionate teacher's compass always points towards the learner. Their primary concern is the growth, well-being, and potential of every student in their care, not simply the completion of a syllabus. Third, they are reflective practitioners. They do not simply deliver a lesson and move on. They constantly examine their own practice, asking themselves, was that effective? Did every student follow? What would I do differently tomorrow? Fourth, they are empathetic communicators. They understand that every student arrives in the classroom with a different story, different challenges, and different needs. They connect genuinely and meaningfully with each individual. Fifth, they have an innovative mindset. They are willing to experiment, to try new strategies, to step outside of their comfort zone in pursuit of better learning outcomes. They do not cling to the familiar simply because it is safe. And sixth, they hold high expectations, not as a form of pressure or comparison, but as a genuine statement of belief. They believe that every single student in this room is capable of achieving great things. These are not passive personality traits. They are active, daily professional choices that passionate teachers make, often at great personal cost and always in service of their students. Now, let us examine the direct implications of educational aspirations for teachers. What does it actually mean for teachers to plan, deliver, and reflect on their own work? The first implication is curriculum alignment. Passionate teachers cannot work in isolation from the broader educational system. Their lessons must actively reflect national and global aspirations, weaving in 21st century skills, inclusive practices, and values-based learning. This demands continuous professional updating and a genuine engagement with educational policy, not as a burden, but as a professional responsibility. The second implication is role expansion. The traditional image of a teacher as a transmitter of subject knowledge is no longer sufficient. Today's passionate teacher is simultaneously a mentor, a counselor, a community builder, and sometimes even an advocate for their students' welfare. Teaching role has expanded dramatically because the aspirations we hold for education have expanded. The third implication is that professional development is non-negotiable. If we aspire for students to develop 21st century competencies, teachers must develop those competencies first. Continuous upskilling is not optional, for example, through workshops, further study, peer learning communities, and self-directed research. It is a professional obligation of every educator who takes their calling seriously. And the fourth implication is the adoption of inclusive practices. When national and global aspirations call for equitable access to quality education, teachers must respond by differentiating their instruction. They should adapt their methods, materials, and assessment to ensure that every learner, regardless of need, is genuinely and meaningfully included. This is the spirit of the Universal Design for Learning framework. Now, no honest discussion of passionate teaching is complete without acknowledging the very real challenges educators face. And I think it is important for them to name it, because recognizing challenges is the first step towards addressing them. First, heavy administrative workloads. In many schools, passionate teachers find that a significant portion of their time is consumed by paperwork. It is time that could otherwise be spent on lesson planning, student feedback, or professional development. Second, rapid and frequent policy changes can create uncertainty and inconsistency, making it difficult for even the most dedicated teachers to find their footing. Third, teachers are increasingly expected to meet the complex and diverse needs of their students. For instance, learning differences, emotional challenges, and socio-economic hardships. Fourth, the digital divide remains a real obstacle, limiting access to the modern tools that educational aspirations increasingly demand. And fifth, passionate teaching carries an emotional cost: the empathy, the commitment, the constant striving. I mean, these qualities are very admirable, but they also carry a genuine risk of burnout if not balanced with self-care and institutional support. However, for every challenge, there is a real and growing opportunity. EdTech tools are transforming personalized learning. Professional learning communities are enabling meaningful teacher collaboration. Student-centered reforms are creating more teacher autonomy. And there is an encouraging growing recognition of teacher well-being as a priority, not an afterthought. The passionate teacher who faces these challenges with resilience and creativity will find no shortage of opportunities to make a profound difference. Let me bring all of this to life with 3 real-world examples that show us what it looks like when educational aspirations and passionate teaching genuinely intersect. Our first example is Finland. Finland consistently ranks among the world's top education systems, and a key reason is the extraordinary trust and professional autonomy afforded to its teachers. Finnish educators have the freedom to design their own curricula and tailor their teaching to their students. When teachers are treated as trusted professionals, passion flourishes, and the results speak for themselves. Our second example is Japan's practice of Junkyo Kenkyu, or lesson study. In this collaborative model, groups of teachers come together to carefully plan, observe, and reflect on individual lessons. It is a reflective practitioner in action. A whole culture of teachers learning from one another, continuously refining their craft in service of their students. Passion here is not just individual, it is institutional. And our third example is Malaysia's own Guru Cemerlang program, the Excellence Teacher Recognition Scheme. This national award celebrates teachers who demonstrate exceptional commitment, skill, and impact. It sends a very clear and powerful message that teachers' dedication is visible, it is valued, and it is rewarded. For many passionate teachers, this recognition is a meaningful affirmation of why they chose this profession. 3 countries. Although 3 different approaches, they have the same fundamental truth. When systems invest in their teachers, trust them, and recognize their contributions, passionate teaching does not just survive, it thrives. I will now hand over to Sharon, who will explore the vital role of communication and digital skills in bringing these aspirations to life.
Thank you, Bok. My name is Sharon and I have the honor of bringing our presentation together in this final section. Section 3, Communication and Digital Skills. Alifa gave us the vision, the aspirations and the directions that guide modern education. Bok gave us the human story, the passionate teacher who carries that vision. Now, I want to focus on the tools, the practical skills and technologies that allow passionate teachers to communicate their vision clearly and to deliver it with maximum impact and creativity. Because here is a truth worth stating plainly. A teacher can possess the deepest passion and the finest intentions, but without effective communication and the thoughtful use of modern technology, that passion may not reach every student as it deserves to reach. Let us begin with communication. I want to ground this in a simple but profound idea. Effective communication is the bridge between educational aspiration and classroom reality. It is not delivered by policy or documents or blueprints. It is delivered by teachers. Through every word they choose, every gesture they make, every piece of feedback they write, and every interaction they have with their students. Passionate teachers develop 6 key dimensions of communication. The first is verbal communication, choosing words that engage, inspire, and challenge, and knowing how to adapt language and tone to the age, level, and the needs of the learner. Second is non-verbal communication. Research consistently shows that a significant portion of communication is non-verbal. A teacher's body language, eye contact, facial expressions, and physical presence in the room convey enthusiasm, confidence, and approachability, often before a single word is spoken. Third is active listening. Communication is never one-directional. Passionate teachers create genuine space for students to speak, to question, and to share ideas. They listen not just to respond, but to understand, and they validate students' contributions, making every individual feel safe and that their voice has value. Fourth is written communication, from lesson plans and assignment feedback to report cards and parent communications. Clear, constructive, and professional written communication is a fundamental teaching skill, and thoughtful written feedback, in particular, can be a powerful drive of student growth. Fifth is digital communication, the responsible and effective use of email, learning management systems, and communication platforms to keep students, parents, and colleagues informed and engaged. In today's connected world, this is an indispensable professional competency. And sixth, especially important in Malaysia, is cross-cultural communication. In our wonderfully diverse, multicultural classroom, teachers must communicate in ways that are culturally sensitive, linguistically inclusive, and respectful of all backgrounds. This is both a professional skill and an ethical responsibility. Now, let us turn to digital technology, and I want to say this clearly from the outset. Digital tools do not replace passionate teachers. They amplify them. They extend a teacher's reach, enrich the learning experience, and help translate aspirations, equity, inclusion, 21st century skills into the everyday reality of the classroom. Today's passionate teachers have access to 6 powerful categories of tools. Learning management systems such as Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, and Moodle allow teachers to organize materials, communicate with students, distribute and collect assignments, and track progress all in one central space. These platforms become essential during the pandemic and remain so today. Interactive presentation tools like Canva, Prezi, and Nearpod allow teachers to move far beyond static slides, creating visually engaging dynamic presentations. Nearpod, in particular, allows students to interact with the presentation in real time, transforming a passive experience into an active one. Gamification platforms such as Kahoot, Quizzes, and Bluekit turn formative assessment into something students actually look forward to. They reduce anxiety, increase participation, give teachers immediate, actionable data on student understanding. Collaboration tools such as Padlet, Jamboard, and Google Docs allow students to work together, share ideas, and co-create even when they are not in the same physical space. This directly developed the collaboration and communication competencies at the heart of 21st century education. Assessment and feedback tools such as Google Forms, Socrative, and Flipgrid offer flexible creative ways to evaluate learning. Flipgrid, for example, allows students to submit video responses, making it an excellent tool for accessing oral communication and confidence. And finally, AI-assisted tools such as ethically guided use of AI platforms, Grammarly for writing development, and Khan Academy's adaptive learning system are beginning to personalize the learning experience in genuinely remarkable ways. The passionate teacher who understands how to guide students in the ethical use of these tools will be at the very front of 21st century education. Knowing that these tools exist is not enough. What distinguishes a truly aspirational, passionate teacher is knowing how to use them creatively in ways that genuinely transform the learning experience rather than simply digitalizing the old one. 4 powerful strategies stand out. The first is the flipped classroom model. Instead of delivering new content during class time, teachers record short instructional videos for students to watch at home. Class time is then freed up entirely for deeper discussion, collaborative projects, and meaningful teacher-student interaction. This kind of interaction is where a passionate teacher's guidance makes the greatest difference. The second is project-based digital work. Students are given real, meaningful challenges to investigate and present through digital artifacts, videos, podcasts, websites, or digital presentations. This develops the authentic 21st century skills in a context that students find genuinely engaging, and it often reveals capabilities that traditional assessment would never surface. The third is the use of real-time data and feedback. Digital tools allow teachers to collect and analyze student performance data instantly. This is about responsiveness. When a passionate teacher sees in real time that the students are struggling with a concept, they do not wait until the next exam to respond. They know now, they can act now. The fourth is virtual community building. Through class blogs, discussion boards, and shared digital portfolios and collaborative documents, teachers can extend the spirit of the classroom or community beyond its physical walls, creating a culture of shared intellectual curiosity and mutual support that enriches everyone's learning. As we move forward to the close of our presentation, I want to take a moment to bring everything together, to draw the threads that Alifa, Bok, and I have contributed into one coherent picture. Educational aspirations define the direction. They are the compass. They tell us, as a society, where we want the education to go, toward equity, excellence, holistic development, and the cultivation of lifelong learners. Without clear aspirations, education risks becoming purposeless. Passionate teachers are the vital link. They are the human engine that transform vision into reality. A national aspiration becomes a student's moment of genuine discovery. A policy goal becomes a classroom culture of curiosity and care. Without passionate teachers, even the most beautifully crafted aspirations remain permanently theoretical. And digital skills are the multiplier. They do not just replace the irreplaceable human dimension of teaching, they amplify it. They allow passionate teachers to reach further, respond faster, and connect more deeply with every student in their care. These three elements, aspirations, passionate teachers, and digital skills, form an inseparable and mutually reinforcing triad. Weaken any one of them and the whole system suffers. But when all three work together, they create a condition in which every student can achieve their fullest potential and every teacher can fulfill their calling with genuine purpose and joy. Aspire, because education must always be guided by a clear, ambitious, and genuinely humane vision of what human beings can become. Inspire, because it is the passionate teacher standing in the classroom with conviction and compassion who brings that vision to life. Transform, because the ultimate measure of any educational aspiration is not a policy document, not a standardized score, but the transformation of a human life. In Malaysia and across the world, we face genuine educational challenges. But we also have something remarkable: committed educators, innovative tools, thoughtful policies, and above all, students who are capable of far more than we sometimes imagine. We hope that today's presentation you have gained a clearer and deeper understanding of what educational aspirations and directions truly mean, why they matter to every educator, and how passionate teachers are equipped with strong communication skills and the creative use of digital technology are the essential agents of the educational change we all hope to see. On behalf of Alifa, Bok, and myself, thank you so much for your kind attention.